Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my October favorites and fails. I only have a couple of fails to share with you because I just filmed a separate video on disappointing products that haven't worked out for me. So I'll link that video in the description box below, but I hope October has been amazing for you guys. I feel like it really did fly by so quickly. Thank you guys so much for watching all of my videos during the month of October. Even if you only caught like one or two of them, I really do appreciate it. I had so much fun filming videos. I kind of challenged myself to upload or to stick to a regular uploading schedule just to keep myself a little bit more accountable, and I had so much fun. I'm planning on doing this same schedule during the month of November, so I will have a new video every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me know if there's anything you want to see on my channel because I would love to film it for you guys. So there are two palettes in particular that I've been reaching for a lot during the month of October. I have them both on my eyes today, but the first one is the ColourPop Misunderstood palette. This was actually part of their Disney Villains collaboration, which was released, I think, around this time last year. And I put this one in my everyday makeup drawer for the fall, and I love it. I've been reaching for it every chance I get. It's a little bit more of a dramatic, colorful palette. There are some smoky tones, some really bright, colorful shades. So if you're into like lighter neutrals, I would probably skip over this one. The majority of the shades in here are either metallic or satin or shimmer. There are a couple of mattes, and of course the mattes perform perfectly, but I just love the textures and the colors in this palette. It helps me create some really intense, like vibrant smoky eyes or something a little bit more colorful and fun. And it's just really pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And typically I do kind of pair it alongside of the other palette, which I will mention, just because it doesn't have a lot of those like typical neutrals or typical matte shades. So I think that's why it never really became a staple for me, just because I felt like it was more of an accent palette. But if you go into it knowing that you might need to reach into other palettes to create some complete looks, then I feel like it's perfectly fine. It's really, really pretty. And if you're just looking for something a little bit different, a little bit more interesting than your typical neutral palette to add to your collection, I don't think you would be disappointed by this one. It performs so well. The other palette that I've been loving is kind of like the complete opposite. The Persona Identity palette is definitely more of an understated palette, and this is one that I've had in my collection for a while. I've always enjoyed the formula, and I've always said that this formula is so high quality, but I've been reaching for it so much during September and October. The neutrals in here are really beautiful, and it's a little bit more of a cooler toned palette. So if you're somebody who's not really into really vibrant, intense shadows or really warm toned shadows, this might be a great option. I love it for everyday wear. If I'm in a hurry and I don't want to take the time to do really, a really intense, vibrant look, this one is perfect because everything blends out effortlessly. I take any of the matte shadows and blend them into the crease, and then I take my finger and place a shimmer all over the lid, and everything just looks very well coordinated. The shadows are very smooth and lightweight, and I just think this is a super, super high quality palette. At first, it might look a little bit underwhelming, but if you're somebody who tends to go for more simple, classic, neutral eyeshadow looks, this is going to be such a great option. The formula is perfect, and it is a nice addition to use alongside of really intense palettes as well. I've been loving these ColourPop Super Shock shadows. I have two shades in particular to share with you. The first one is Amaze. This is a really pretty, like warm toned champagne gold, and it has some glitter in it. And I've also been loving the shade Frog. I wore this shade alongside of my Persona Cosmetics Identity palette in a recent video, and a lot of you guys were asking me what I was wearing. This shade is so like multi-dimensional on the eyes. It has a little bit more of an icy, silvery, pink-toned base, but it has a lot of glitter mixed in. So when you wear it on the lid, it looks like you took the time to do a really intense eyeshadow look, but it took 2 seconds because these Super Shock shadows are so easy to work with. I feel like ColourPop Super Shock shadows have kind of gotten swept under the rug because they have so many formulas, so many products, but I've been reaching into quite a few of my Super Shock shadows lately, and they're so easy. If you take like your bronzer or just a simple brown and blend it into the crease and take a Super Shock shadow and place it all over the lid, it's just the perfect, quick, and easy eyeshadow look, and I cannot get enough of them. So these are two shades that I've been loving throughout the month of October. So unfortunately, I do have an eyeshadow palette that did not work out for me during the month of October. I actually shared this in a fairly recent video. I did a Sephora haul, and I shared my initial thoughts on it, and I told you guys that I really just wasn't impressed by it, but at that point, I had only tried out half the shade. So I wanted to make sure I used the rest of the shades in the palette before I came back and shared my final thoughts on it, and I have to tell you guys, I'm just disappointed in the Anastasia Carli Bybel palette. I feel like there are definitely good parts to this palette. And I've gotten some really pretty looks using it. I think at this point I've created maybe like 4 different looks using it, and the matte shadows perform well. They perform just like Anastasia shadows. I feel like some of them are a little bit extra powdery, but that's something that we've come to expect from a lot of Anastasia matte. So I don't have an issue with the matte shadows. I feel like it's the shimmer and metallic shadows that don't, you know, live up to the Anastasia quality. I got a lot of comments on this palette in my haul video, and a ton of you guys said that you had the same experience. Some of you guys said that you really love the palette as well, so I think it just comes down to personal preference. I think that overall it is supposed to be a little bit more of a subtle palette compared to some of their other palettes, because there are some more like everyday, lighter, neutral shades in here. So I totally understand that, but I feel like at the same time, some of the shades are just very underwhelming. The shade OA is like a gorgeous glittery blue, and I feel like it's very dry, it's very flaky. I experienced a ton of fallout. It fades by the end of the day. The shade Mandala, this is a really gorgeous duochrome, but it's so subtle on the eyes to the point where it really doesn't show up very well, and you don't even see like the duochrome effect because it is so subtle. The shade My Angels really, again, did not look like that on my eyes. I feel like in the pan it looks very rich, and I thought that was going to be one of my favorites. But on the eyes, it just looks pretty subtle and pretty washed out. And I even like layered it up. I wore it multiple times. I just wasn't super impressed. Again, there are shades in here that I love. I love the shade Moo. I love the shade Bybel. And I feel like I can create a couple of really gorgeous looks in this palette. But I feel like for the price tag, I want to be able to love the majority of the shades in here. I don't even feel like there are like 1 or 2 duds. I feel like there are probably 5 or 6 shades in here, maybe even a couple more, that are just very underwhelming, and I'm not impressed by it as a whole. I mean, this is a high-end eyeshadow palette. I think it's like $45. You might be happy with some of the shades. You might be happy with all the shades, but I feel like for $45, I just expect the majority of them to perform extremely well, and it just doesn't. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a couple of face products. I've been using this primer since September. I think that I actually mentioned it in my September favorites, but I have to mention it again because it is the only primer that I've really used during the entire month of October. This is from Catrice. It is their Prime and Fine Pore Refining Anti-Shine Base. I typically avoid a lot of mattifying primers because I feel like they make my skin look and feel very dry, and when I apply foundation on top, it doesn't look very smooth or even. So I personally love using hydrating primers even though I have oily skin, but I have to tell you guys, this is like the perfect mattifying primer because it does keep my skin looking matte throughout the day, but it's more of a smoothing base. So it actually feels pretty moisturizing on the skin. It just gives your skin the most even, smooth appearance and feel. So when you apply foundation on top, everything goes on so easily. And it really does keep my skin from getting too oily throughout the day. A lot of smoothing primers do tend to make my skin look a little bit more oily. I feel like they don't hold up well on my skin and they tend to break down by like, you know, the middle of the day. But this one does keep my skin looking and feeling smooth and looking and feeling matte. So if you guys are looking for a really good primer, this one is amazing. I've been using it for almost 2 months at this point, and I really haven't reached for any other primer in my collection because I love how this one works. You guys, I never thought that I would be a tinted moisturizer fan. I haven't tried a tinted moisturizer in a really long time because I typically just like a good full coverage matte foundation. My skin is a little bit red. I sometimes have acne scarring and I do have oily skin. So I feel like light coverage products don't give me that even appearance that I'm looking for. And even if I can find a light coverage product that, you know, evens out redness, it doesn't stay in place well for me typically. So full coverage matte foundations are my favorite. I know that a lot of people are not big fans, but I feel like if you prep your skin well and you blend it in well, it can, you know, look a little bit more natural. It doesn't necessarily have to look heavy and cakey, but I decided to test out the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. And you guys, I totally went into like testing this product with a bad attitude. I remember testing it out and I was like, it's not going to work for me. I don't even know why I'm bothering. I don't like light coverage products. And I'm so happy that I was wrong because I love this product. It's super lightweight, incredibly smoothing, and it just blends out really well on the skin. Now, it is incredibly lightweight, so it's not a product that I recommend really trying to build up or get more of like a medium full coverage look with it, because it's not going to work. I actually just like to really blend it and work it well into my skin, and I feel like it evens out my skin tone in a very, very subtle way. It allows my freckles to show through. My skin doesn't look perfected by any means, but it does look a little bit more even and a little bit more smooth. I always set mine into place with a matte powder like the Essence All About Matte Setting Powder. If you have dry skin or you don't like to set your products, you could totally leave it. It does have a very dewy finish, so the matte powder kind of takes away some of that dewiness. If I wasn't to set it, it would totally wear away within like an hour. But if I do set it, it holds up so well throughout the day. And I'm so impressed by it. I can't believe that it lasts well on my oily skin, and it looks smooth and even, and it looks great throughout the day. So I will do an entire video using this product. I have like a 10-minute makeup routine for fall, so I'll film that for you guys for November. So stay tuned for that. But I love this, and I honestly can't believe I do, but I've reached for it so much during October. So Physicians Formula makes their butter blushes, which I love. I think they are very smooth and very blendable, but a lot of the shades that they created were on the lighter side. They recently came out with a couple of shade additions to the collection, and they've actually been my favorite. These are in the shades Saucy Mauve and Copacabana. So the original 4 shades were definitely on the lighter side. So I know if you have a darker skin tone, they probably didn't work that well for you, but these can definitely be built up to be pretty intense, so I would recommend trying these out. Look at that like really pretty sheen. These remind me a lot of the Buxom Wanderlust blushes. Those actually look like matte blushes in the pan, but as you apply them to the cheeks, they have like this really pretty natural sheen, and it is the same case with these two. If you just like a really smooth, blendable blush, or if you struggle with texture, this is going to be the perfect formula because it really gives your cheeks like a nice, healthy, natural glow, and it just glides on so easily. So I've been reaching for these 2 shades in particular during the entire month of October. I think they are so perfect. There is another blush that I've been reaching for as well, so I feel like I kind of alternate back and forth between these 3 blushes. This is the Hourglass Ambient Strobe Lighting Blush in the shade Brilliant Nude. I'm really starting to get into blush, so I am reaching for some more vibrant shades compared to what I used to love, but I used to hate vibrant blushes, and I just wanted something very subtle, something not so noticeable, and I feel like the Hourglass blushes are perfect if you are a fan of very lightweight, almost like barely there cheek products. There's something about the Hourglass formula that I've been willing to pay for over and over. And don't get me wrong, there are affordable cheek products at the drugstore. These butter blushes are great, and they are like 1/3 the price of these Hourglass blushes, but I just think the Hourglass blushes have like this magical, smooth quality to them, and they make your skin look so naturally beautiful. So if you're somebody who doesn't like a lot of pigment, this one might be a great option for you. If you do have a deeper skin tone, I probably wouldn't recommend this color because on me, it's kind of like the perfect light natural flush. So I might recommend like Euphoric Fusion or a little bit of a deeper shade, but I do love Brilliant Nude. It's kind of my go-to when I don't want a colorful blush, but I do kind of want something. You guys, one of my favorite people on YouTube is Mel Thompson. I'm going to link her channel in the description box below in case you guys are not subscribed to her. I definitely recommend checking her out. I think that I discovered her channel when I was looking for like a brow tutorial. I think it was maybe a year ago, possibly longer. Anyways, I've been hooked on her channel ever since. She is insanely talented. She is so gorgeous, and I love watching her reviews. Her personality is so much fun. She's just one of my absolute favorites. So anyways, she recently collaborated with Christian Audette to create some lip products, and she did send them to me, which was so kind of her. And I am so excited. These are absolutely beautiful. So Mel, if you are watching this, congratulations. I love these products so much. There are 2 different lipsticks. There's the shade Beauty and then also the shade Puffin. Beauty is a really beautiful light nude. That's what I'm wearing today. And then Puffin is a gorgeous like red hot orange. These lipsticks are so creamy and smooth, and they really stay in place well on the lip. She also created 2 different lip liners, and these lip liners are perfect to wear alongside of the lipsticks on their own. These are some of the best lip liners I've tried. They're so creamy and smooth, but they actually like lock your lip product into place all day long, and I just think they're beautiful. So I am so happy for Mel. I think she did such a great job with this bundle. These products are so beautiful. I really didn't expect anything less from Mel because I feel like she she's just like somebody I really, really trust when it comes to product recommendations. And I think she did such a great job on this collaboration. So if you guys love Mel and you want to support her, or if you know, are looking for some really high quality lip products, I'm going to link this bundle in the description box below. But again, congratulations to Mel. You did such a great job and I love everything you created. So I do have another fail to share with you guys. I recently tried out these Urban Decay Vice Lip Chemistry lipsticks, and unfortunately, they didn't work out for me. They sound really unique and interesting, and I'm always up for trying something a little bit different because I feel like so many lip products kind of do the same thing. So when a brand creates something that sounds new and innovative, I'm curious to try it out. But unfortunately, these just didn't work for me. These are supposed to be high gloss, lightweight lip tints that react to your pH, and they say that they create a custom shade unique to your skin tone. So when you apply the product, it goes on like a certain type of shade, and then once it kind of reacts to your particular pH level, it's supposed to adjust. I've tried products that claim to do that in the past, and they always do the same thing. So I should have known, but typically they pull very hot pink on me. I think that I'm probably done with products that claim to adjust my personal pH because I don't know, everything turns the exact same color. So this is a little bit of a weird product because on the website, they have a bunch of different shades, but I feel like because they are so customizable and they're going to change based on, you know, your skin tone or whatever the science is behind it, it's not going to look like that on you. So I definitely recommend going into stores if you are wanting to try them out and swatching them on your hand, because as you know, time kind of goes by, the color is going to be completely different. I would also recommend going with a deeper shade because the nude shades all look very, very light, and you know, they don't really do a whole lot. They do kind of start off as like a glossy lip product, and then once the gloss wears away, you're left with a little bit of a lip stain, but they also feel very dry on the lips. I actually thought, like as soon as I applied it, that they might have a high alcohol content just based on how they were kind of drying out my lips. And I checked on the website under the ingredients, and alcohol is like the 4th or 5th ingredient. So they do feel very dry. They're kind of a weird formula overall, I have to be honest. I didn't like them. As for pros, I mean, they do stay in place well. I would say they last like 3 or 4 hours. So they are kind of like a glossy lip stain that doesn't transfer, but I just feel like they're not comfortable. They're not flattering on the lips, and I personally just didn't have a good experience with them. So I wouldn't really recommend picking them up unless it sounds like it appeals to you. If you guys have tried them out, I would love to hear how they worked for you, but unfortunately they didn't work for me. I've been testing out a lot of brow gels lately, and I was kind of hooked on my ColourPop Brow Boss Gel for such a long time, and it is still one of my favorites, but I didn't realize there were so many different formulas out there. I just kind of felt like they were all very similar, and now that I've been testing them out, I've fallen in love with some different options. But I recently tried the Hourglass Arch Brow Volumizing Fiber Gel. This one is in the shade Dark Brunette, and it works really well. I feel like this one is a great option because it's kind of in between like the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel and then more of a stiff, harsh brow gel like the Anastasia Brow Gel. I love the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel because it's a little bit more of a waxy texture, so it just gives my brows a lot of movement. It helps them look a little bit more voluminous without locking them into place in a really harsh manner. But sometimes that brow gel can feel a little bit too wet, or I feel like maybe my brows move around a little bit too much and I want something that will lock them into place a little bit better throughout the day. And I feel like that's where this one comes into place because it's not super harsh and it's not super intense. You're not going to have like hairsprayed brows. Like some brow gels are so intense that it feels like you just took hairspray and like locked them into place all day long. This one is a little bit stronger than the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel, but it still has like fibers in it, so it makes your brows look a little bit more voluminous. It's tinted. It's just all around a really good option. I think what sets this one apart is that it does have a dual-ended brush, and at first I was like, I don't know if that'll make much of a difference, but it really does. The side that has like short bristles is great for filling in your brows if you want more color. I'll take this and like really run it through my brows to fill them in. And then once it dries, I'll take a brow pencil and fill in any sparse areas. And then I'll go back in with like the fluffier side and really like comb my brows up to give them more of that hair-like appearance. And I feel like it's just such a great option. It really is like an all-in-one brow gel because it does lock them into place, but it gives them that voluminous look. It deposits color, and I've been really impressed by it. Okay, guys, that is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know if there's anything you want to see on my channel during the month of November, and I'll be sure to film it. Otherwise, I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.